in my interview with the Energy Department last Friday, the Energy Department says that the NGCP is refusing to submit themselves to an audit. Is this correct?
No, it's not. Before I talk about the rates, we're not saying that we don't want to comply. We're just saying that the ERC, which is the rate setting regulator, should be given the opportunity to study the rate impact of this. So NGCP is not making the decision. We're just asking that the rate setter, the regulator, be given that opportunity. As regards the audit, that's simply untrue. We have a concession agreement which lays down the parameters of these audits. So actually, right now, because of COVID, even because of COVID, we are undergoing a virtual audit of our facilities. They check everything top to bottom, including the light bulbs and the status of our doorknobs. So this is something that is provided for under the concession agreement and that we fully comply with. In fact, last December 2019, before the pandemic, the onset of the pandemic, we actually subjected ourselves to an inspection by the national, led by General Esperon. I forgot the name of the agency, but they did inspect their facilities. And we've also had Secretary Cusi come and go for a briefing and inspect their facilities himself.
Okay, let me read to you the statement of NGCP coming from the Senate. I think it is the NGCP president, Mr. Almeida, who said this. We are blamed for not contracting enough ancillary service as if it is the solution to the problem. To put it on record, NGCP has 100% contracted a healthy mix of firm and non-firm ancillary service. That's one statement. And then there's another statement that says, we have been called out for not contracting 100% firm. But if we allow this, there will be an astronomical spike in electricity prices for consumers. So you see the two statements?
Yes.
One statement says that you've contracted 100%. His other statement in the Senate says, if we allow the directive, or if we follow the DOE directive, there's an astronomical spike. So, Attorney, what is the truth?
Those are not inconsistent statements.
Okay.
The first statement says we are fully contracted, except for the 72 megawatts in contingency reserves. Let me qualify that. Except for that 72 megawatts, which is 11%, we are fully contracted with that healthy mix of firm and non-firm. But we are not 100% firm. If we go on that 100% firm, that is what will cause the spike in electricity that will really be burdensome to the public.
Does the DOE circular specify that you need to go on 100% firm?
Yes, this is something that they recently came up with. This is something that was not implemented during government's time before we took over. And this was something they didn't implement when they were running it. So
moving forward, Attorney, now that the DOE has recently implemented that you need to go on 100% firm, will the NGCP follow or not follow?
We will follow, but we ask that the ERC be given an opportunity to really see what the impact of this, because at the end of the day, these contracting mechanisms and strategies must work to the better of the consumer, because that's the point of the EPIRA, better services, lower rates. But if it's something that will lead to higher rates for the consumers and no better services, then I think that's really something that the DOE should consider, as well as the ERC. Give them an opportunity to study the rate impact.
But then the problem is Senator Sherwin Gatchalian on Head Start said that's also not for you to decide, because he talked about the economic impact of the brownouts. So I think that's one question is, is it for the NGCP to make these decisions when the decision of the NGCP, according to Senator Gatchalian, is to comply because the circular is there? I think what the ordinary consumer is asking is, are we supposed to wait for all of you to debate and then we suffer the brownouts? There's got to be a chain of command somewhere. I mean, right? I'm talking as an ordinary person.
I agree.
Experiencing the brownouts. See, if you read the news, here's the NGCP giving its reason. But there's got to be a chain of command of, look, there shouldn't be a brownout, right?
Yeah.
So
I agree. If I can just explain this, right? That's the whole point. Absolutely. Every citizen, every consumer, every bill-paying person in the Philippines should have a right to the best service at the best price with no interruptions. But signing a firm agreement will not give you additional power. It will just give you bigger bills, larger bills to pay. That's our point. To convert the existing contracts, the payment scheme, that's the only thing that will change. It will not, there won't be a power plant that will magically turn up when we sign the firm contracts. You will just be paying more for the same services. And if it's the same amount of power that's currently in the grid, it will not improve the situation because your problem is not ancillary services. Your problem is supply. So if your problem is supply, the solution should be more supply, not higher rates. And yes, I'm going to answer that directly. Is it our right to ask whether these will affect consumer prices? Yes. As a good corporate citizen, NGCP believes that we should be prudent in our contracting strategies and make sure that the power we purchase for ancillary services, not for supply, but for ancillary services, are the best contracts given the need of the grid.
All right. Now you have the independent electricity market operator, which runs WESM, the wholesale electricity spot market, is actually, they seem to be on your side with this argument by stating, this is an ABS-CBN news story, said that the problem with the Philippines is it doesn't have enough power generation capacity. So the overall long-term solution that the independent market, the independent electricity market operators is saying, it's really more supply, more power plants, more power generation that is needed. So you agree with that, of course?
Absolutely, because exactly what I was trying to say, that there is power that NGCP uses to balance frequency and voltage, just so that the quality of power that reaches your homes is good quality, and there is power that we use for supply. Okay. So the supply is what is missing. If you don't have enough supply, NGCP sources everything from the same pot. And if that pot doesn't hold enough to meet both needs, then you're still going to have the same problem. And I hope everyone understands this. NGCP has no business selling power. We just have to stabilize the delivery system. And the delivery system isn't broken.
Okay. Now, just to close is clearly, I think what's important is you're saying with a new order, NGCP will comply. That's clear?
Yes. Okay. We just want to ensure that the ERC is able to do its job, because our powers, our ancillary services agreements are also reviewed by the ERC. So we just really want to ensure that the ERC is able to do its job and protect the consumers and see if these power supply, these ancillary services contracts will result in the spike that we have projected.
Okay, but I think it's clear what you're saying categorically is with the new order, you will comply with 100% firm contracting. Let's state that first. Yes.
Yes.
Just to close, because we don't have enough time, I've had you on the show before, I remember, for another issue. This is, Cynthia, the first issue that NGCP has had to face. So clearly, the company has gone through several controversies. Now, you now have the company facing threats of revoking the franchise, one. Calls for going back to government, although Senator Sherwin Gatchalian says that may not be wise. But here's another one. Performance. The ERC recently in an interview said, you also have a delay in 33 approved power transmission projects, saying in effect, the performance of NGCP as a whole isn't exemplary, right? Okay, now, why is NGCP going through this if it is performing so well? What is the problem, Cynthia?
Actually, I ask myself that very question because the ERC grades us on several items. And of course, one of them is the quality of our power delivery services. And year on year, we improve the quality of the delivery services. As regards our projects, like any other business, we do encounter a lot of challenges. And this is something that we've also reported to the Department of Energy, and we've asked for their assistance on this. NGCP is a private corporation, and we do have a lot of hurdles and a lot of concerns, local concerns that we have to face. And this is something that we're trying to deal with every day. And in good faith, really trying to finish these projects.
Okay, all right. So on that note, I think that one thing is clear here is you also want to move forward.
Yes,
right?
definitely.
But then what you're saying is even if you follow, this is interesting, 100% of firm, there will still be brownouts. That's what you believe that.
Definitely. And can I just say this?
Yes.
Even for the generators, sometimes they're being blamed for having poor maintenance, etc. But the thing is, maybe there just needs to be enough supply so that they don't have to work 24/7. It's just I'm that's just a personal theory of mine. Perhaps that really the solution is to have more supply in the grid so that these generators can run their maintenance activities without fear of them breaking down in the middle of everything. So, there has to be, you're absolutely right, there has to be some middle ground, some solution with all this, because at the end of the day, the consumers are the ones that are suffering, and NGCP is just more than willing to be part of the solution, but we have to make sure that we aren't being unduly blamed for it. There are things, of course, that need to be improved, but I really think that the shortage in supply that led to the power interruptions at the end of May and the beginning of June is something that should not be laid at our feet.
On that note, Attorney Cynthia Alabanza, I want to thank you for coming to Head Start again. As always, we're always open for you guys. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Karen, for having me, and you have a good day.